On the economic side, the case for open trade has a long and rich intellectual history. David Ricardo's intuition that the gains from international trade are rooted in the law of comparative advantage has provided the backbone for 200 years of trade theory and practice. Traditional theories taught us that countries, like people, gain from trade because they are different, and that it is these relative, rather than absolute differences in production costs that make trade profitable. This last insight provides the vital intellectual underpinning for the argument that all countries can gain from trade. You only have to be competitive in relative and not absolute terms across production activities to gain from trade. And understanding this reality is indispensable to the efforts of many over the last 6 decades and more to build a more open and a more inclusive multilateral trading system. David Ricardo linked the comparative advantages of countries to technological differences. Later, other theorists like Heschker and Olin emphasized differences in factor endowments such as labor, land, capital, as the driving force of comparative advantage and gains from trade. These differences in emphasis embody no contradiction. They merely emphasize the rich opportunities offered by diversity. Now, notwithstanding the robustness and continued relevance of the traditional propositions that explain the advantages of trade, theory has continued to move on, and we've seen important innovation in this part of economic science in recent times. For instance, from around the 80s onwards, trade analysts focused on exchanges of products within the same industries. Intra-industry trade is largely explained by economies of scale and associated market imperfections, and it accounts for a big part of increased prosperity and enriched choice, especially in high-income countries. I might also add that Paul Krugman's contribution to this thinking, often referred to as the new trade theory, was part of what earned him this year's Nobel Prize. Even more recently, new data sets with information on production and trade revealed considerable differences among firms, challenging the standard assumption that we could treat producers as identical and think in terms of, I quote, the representative firm. The theoretical formulations resulting from these new insights demonstrate that opening up to trade does not just offer new opportunities to specialize productively, it also raises the average level of productivity of domestic industries. These insights have been dubbed the new trade theories, surely evidence that economists' ability to give names to their theories do not match their otherwise remarkable intellectual achievements. Dentists, as revisited by Chairman Maskoller, are probably better at that. Another challenge to traditional trade theory has arisen on account of the international fragmentation of production processes resulting from the breakup of supply chains, a phenomenon that has indeed accelerated in recent times. offshoring, or trade in tasks, as we say, whether in goods or services, is in reality a new application of the theory of comparative advantage. It has been made possible by a powerful combination of new technology in information, in communication, in transport, and increasingly open trade policies. Now, this very rapid journey through the history of trade theory is, I believe, a useful reminder of the diverse sources of gains from trade, including increased efficiency, the realization of economies of scale, greater product variety, and higher productivity. But trade theory, just like trade, by the way, is not much used as an end in itself. Theory is useful if it informs policy, and trade is useful if it enhances the human condition at the end of the day. And on both these counts, realism and intellectual honesty require that we also consider the costs and the politics associated with trade. If the beginning and the end of the story was that trade was unconditionally beneficial to all, and that the more we had of it, the better, then governments would surely embrace it unilaterally and without question. And there will, in this case, certainly be no need for the WTO agreement to manage international trade relations, and there probably would be no need for WTO at all